Oh, you can cheat this forward, by the way. Oh, this was wobbling.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was saying.
Stop.
Is it still?
I,
It's this there you go.
Sound won't turn. There we go. Turned
it's still a little wobbly. That's fine.
I think it works.
That's fine. I'll just hold it with my hand.
That can't happen. No, that was me.
No, that was me. All right.
Okay.
All set. Ready?
I told you it was me.
That's yours. Then
Definitely
definitely.
me.
So I have the timer.
Okay. All right. This time for real. This time for real. We're starting.
for real.
Welcome to Fake Philosophers. This week's episode. My name is Mitch. I decided to take point on this particular episode. And did I decide or did you? I don't remember.
I think we just
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm doing the intro. You're welcome. With me today is Mike. Say hello, Mike.
Hello, everyone.
And our good friend Eddie has joined us remotely via Zoom. Hi, Eddie.
Hello. Good to see you again.
Do you want to take that again, or?
Been so long.
So today's
So,
this week's episode, I know we've done some general discussion episodes. We've done some we've done one topic centered episode. This time we decided we're going to go a little bit more specific to one or two topics, kind of keep things.
Well, yeah, because the topic I thought of, and it wasn't that I thought of it. So some time ago, a friend of mine, she posed a question on Instagram.
Well, before you get into it, some context. Much of what we talk about,
English, please.
much of what we talk about, we find just repeating what we've said to our windshields when we're driving in traffic, or lying in bed at night, or poop thoughts, as I like to call them. They're like shower thoughts, but less interesting. It's
Depending.
topics of discussion that are either political, but in today's case, it's more of a just general social commentary, I
Norms,
guess.
yeah.
Like things that we say or other people say that have just become part of the culture that we, some of us really appreciate language and the English language and words having meaning and using those meanings appropriately. Well, here's a little one that Mike actually brought up a couple days ago that we thought, hey, that'd be a good discussion. So Mike's gonna go ahead.
Yeah, at least for a little bit. So yeah, my friend, she on her Instagram posed this question in her stories. Her name's Victoria. She posted pretty much, is it appropriate, or is the whole "you can come if you want to" an appropriate invitation to like have someone come with you somewhere? And
so give us an example. You're hosting, and yeah.
Okay, so no, I think it's just the way that she was approaching it was like if someone was asking someone else on a date. I'm not sure the context that she was in.
Okay.
But I've always used that phrase as let's say Eddie was actually in studio with us, and me and you, we were both really interested in I don't know,
Fast and Furious 9.
Yeah, we really like the Fast and Furious movies. It's amazing.
Okay.
And I've never heard Eddie talk about it. So me and you have plans. We're going to Fast and Furious.
Right.
And so I bring it up. And Eddie's like, oh, you guys are going to Fast and the Furious. And I'm like, yeah, like we're really into it. And I'm like, oh, but Eddie, if you want to come, you can. That's how I would use it in context, which
That
I
seems
see
like a
nothing-
literal translation.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think the way she was referring to it as if someone like, I think she meant it, the way I interpreted her meaning was more in a, I don't want to say romantic, but kind of, to where like if I'm going to the movie and my lady or a lady I'm interested in is there and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm going to go see this movie. Like, you can come if you want to.
Ooh.
To where, because she was very much like inappropriate invitation. She was very much against it.
Okay. Like invite me or don't, dude.
Invite me or
okay.
don't. Do you want me to be there?
Yeah.
I think that was her interpretation.
Oh, okay. Now we got the content. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's kind of.
Well, that's where like I think I responded to her and I said like I think it depends on the context.
Oh, totally.
Because I think it would be awful if like my girl, if I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go to Fleming's for a steak.
Yeah.
You can come if you want to. She'd probably be like, okay, dick. Like,
Depends on the relationship too.
well, of course.
Yeah, if it's friends shooting the shit about go see some shitty movie, Yeah, come if you want to. I really don't want to, but I guess I've been.
Well, I will say I would agree with her in a little bit if, like, let's say we're going to the movies and I like call someone. I'm like, let's say Danny. I'm like, hey, Danny, Mitch and I are going to the movie. You can come if you want to.
Yeah, if you go out of your way
To say you can come if you want to.
to kind of invite him, I'd be pissed if I were him. Like,
That-
really?
that
You're
would
gonna put
be-
that on me now?
Yeah, I kind of get that.
Yeah,
But, like, if it's in conversation and there's somebody nearby, that's how I've always used it.
right.
Like,
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well,
How about you want to come? What's wrong with saying, well, you want to come?
would that be the
No,
same
we're
thing?
going. We're going to be there at this time. We're going to be there at 7.
Would
Get
you like to
there.
go?
Yeah.
That. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Not would you like to go, because that's the normal invitation.
the phrase
do you want to come?
you can come if you want to. Let's keep it in the realm of like going to a casual event with friends. No romantic, no courtship, nothing. Just a casual event with friends. You can come if you want to. That makes it there's no obligation there. Like, we're already doing this. You can come or go. It's no problem. We'd enjoy it if you could. You can come if you want to. Then it's fine. But if you say, do you want to go? Suddenly it's, we want you to go. And it's suddenly like on you, like you're semi obligated. Does that make any sense?
Kind of.
Okay.
And that's how generally, if someone said to me, like, if it's opposite, let's say you and Eddie were going to the Fast and Furious movie.
Okay.
And you look to me like, oh, hey, like, like, you can come if you want.
Yeah.
The way I interpret that is kind of like you said already. Like, okay, you guys are going. You have no problem with me coming. You also have no problem with me not going.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not necessarily like, hey, come with us. It's,
Right.
hey, you were not aware. You are more than welcome to come.
Now let's take it a different way. Let's say I'm courting Eddie, or at least trying to get into his pants, which I think is most courtship these days. But
Sure.
and if I said to Eddie, if I were saying to Eddie, you know, there's this concert in the park, great music, I really like. Would you like to go? Do you want to go? Okay, now you see how that is heard. Like, if I'm asking someone out, do you want to go? Now say
Correct.
the other way. Like, there's this I'm going to this concert in the park, going alone. You can come if you want to. Suddenly it's like, oh, I'm that cool.
Yeah.
It'd be great if you can come. Maybe I'll get laid. Kind of,
Yeah.
point of view. But hey, no pressure though.
Yeah, and I think she and I was taking it under that context,
Right.
Because I've said that a lot, and when someone says it to me, I've never taken it personally. But to me, it's if I'm saying that to somebody, I'm pretty much saying, like, you're more than welcome to come, but it's of no consequence if you don't.
Have you ever used a phrase like that when in a dating scenario? I mean, I feel like you would be more of like, if you're going to ask a girl out, you ask her out, and it's
You know what? I think it's dependent on it's dependent on the girl. Because I think in my younger days when I was a little less confident, kind of like this sounds silly, but kind of like when you're a young kid, like, you never want to say, "Do you like her?" No. So, like, but in a mature version of that, not a mature version, but kind of a mature version of that, I never want to, like, there was a time where I never wanted to say out loud, like, "Oh, I'm really into you." So I would try to be coy about it, like, "Hey, like this thing's happening. If you want to go, like, if you want to come, you can come."
so beginning stages, no pressure, but I'd like to hang out with you, kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah.
What phrase would you use though? If would you use that same phrase still, or what?
I don't know, because there is also a different thing, and you kind of touched on it. If a guy is to go after a girl like that, like, "Hey, I'm going to the movies. You can come if you want to." In her head, I could just see her going like, "So you're just going to the movies by yourself?"
Yeah.
Or I'm going to a bar. You know, yeah, sure, I'd go to a bar by myself. There's people there, or whatever.
Sure.
But let's say there's this girl I kind of like. It'd be cool if she went too.
So I wouldn't use "you can come if you want to." I would say, so if I'm going out with friends, I'm saying, like, "Hey, me, Mitch, and Eddie, we're going to the bar." So
Ooh, let's table that, because that's another discussion, another realm of asking someone out when friends are involved and it's a group.
well, of course, my point is, like, because I have used the tactic to where, like, if I know I'm going out with friends, okay, cool, it's a no pressure situation. I could say, "Hey, friends are going out,"
okay.
and then the plan, has it ever worked out? Not really, but the plan is at the bar, like, I could be like, "Hey, you want to go play pool?"
Okay, yeah.
But her coming out was no pressure.
Gotcha.
And,
Okay.
you know what I mean? That's
Okay.
kind of, but no, I've never, if it's just a one-on-one date, I've never said the whole, like, "Hey, you can come if you want to."
Well, let's get like a specific example is I'm staying home, watching movies, ordering a pizza. You can come if you want to. Obviously, we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like most girls today that would be offended by that invitation would be in that kind of scenario. It's like, we're not actually going out doing anything. Do you want to come over and hang out and, at my place alone? What do you think?
Like, would I use that, or would that be inappropriate?
Well, obviously it'd be inappropriate, but I'm not going to
It's
ask
not
it.
inappropriate.
I don't think
Just ask. It's not a big deal.
So
It's not. It's age dependent too. If the person has a social life, they're not going to be offended at all.
That's true,
So I've
too.
True,
had
okay.
people just come on over because they really wanted to see what was it, Bohemian Rhapsody, and I had it. It's like, okay, let's watch it. And that was that.
yeah, I think what Mitch is saying, because I agree. I think what Mitch is saying specifically is, would that be a situation? Because I agree, romantically, it is not an appropriate invitation. But with that particular case where you're asking a girl over to your house, would that be you can come if you want to?
Yeah. And I could see from your friend's perspective being like, dude, do you want me there or not? Like,
Yeah.
do you want me to come over or not? Do you want me to?
I think I would only use it the you can come over if you want to. If let's say I'm ordering pizza, I have no plans on going out,
Okay.
and a girl hit me up and she's like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Do you want to do something? Or or something like that, and I'm like, well, I'm ordering pizza. You're more than welcome to come over. Mm-hmm. That's how I could see using that in context.
Okay.
But if I want a girl to come over, I would say, hey, what are you doing tonight? I'm ordering pizza. Would you like to come over?
So did your friend post this question as I was asked this phrase, and I didn't like it, or was it more just like,
It's hard to tell.
okay,
But so I will say, so she posted, and it was like the yes or no. It was like a poll
the Instagram story?
thing.
Okay, yeah.
And then later, an hour or two later, she came back on and she said, pretty much like laughing, saying like, all these guys said, like, yes, it's appropriate, and all the girls said no.
Interesting.
And then she took the stance of, it is an inappropriate way to ask somebody out or to invite somebody out.
Okay.
So and she took a very strong stance on it.
Wow. Okay.
This poll got the girly split. It is literally men on one side, women on the other, with the exception of a few men. Guys, what's going on there? What's going on here? Where's the disconnect? You can come if you want is not an appropriate invitation. It's not. And if you think that, you're probably a fuckboy.
So Eddie, you don't see as much of a problem with it. The you can come if you want to approach to asking someone out. I'm saying, like, maybe, am I correct in that? You don't see as much of a problem with it? But
I believe in being clear.
okay,
If you establish clarity, there's nothing to read into.
sure.
And you take it from there.
But can't you see how a lady might feel that there is no clarity in that sentence? Like, if a guy is expressing interest and the girl's confused as to whether or not he's interested, and then he says you can come if you want to, and she's like, well, there's an answer. He put it on me now if we're interested or not.
Well, you put it on her if she's interested in coming. Beyond that, in being on-prem, in location, in the same room, anything more, it's like, well, you established that, and you can establish that clarity. Come over and let's find out, Or do you want that? Or, okay, here's the emotional expectation. Here's the relational expectation up front. I need to know that now.
Oh, okay.
Before I put on a shoe and go over and knock on the door. It's like...
It's kind of a way to flip it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I've always been very, I try to be as clear as possible. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not perfect, but like, I'll say, hey, let's go to dinner, and call them, do the classic, like, call them up kind of thing. And, would you like to go to dinner, doing this? Well, then it's a date, quote The Office or whatever, but.
Well,
But then again, it's like,
end.
I've been over in my 20s. I was like invited over to somebody's house just to watch a movie. And it's like, yeah, we were into each other and we're at her place. She puts on her face. I was like, yeah, we'll just watch anything. Put on Scent of a Woman, and I was spooning on the couch, and then I fall asleep. But then she tries to wake me up by just butting into me, And it's like I'm snoring it. I could tell. I was like, huh, yeah, okay, you know. And I saw the end of the movie, but it's like, oh, it was watch a movie and chill, and there was into that, you know. It's just and I fell asleep, and she didn't want me falling asleep. You know?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess mainly her why she was upset by it was because there was no clarity in the motivation behind it. Is
Maybe
that
just in my
Exactly.
in my opinion, I think what Eddie was saying about clarity. If a girl, and this I think it's happened only on a few occasions, if a girl says, "Yeah, you can come if you want to. You're more than welcome to come," what it's saying to me is, I would be happy for you to come, but if you're not coming, that's fine too. That's how I've always taken it.
yeah.
Where I so that's where Eddie was talking about clarity. That's, in my opinion, giving them clarity. Like that, there's no consequence if you don't want to come to this thing. Where I think as if what she was talking about, I think in her eyes, the man specifically or whoever should be clear. Like, I either want you to come or I don't.
Right.
Because knowing her the way I know her, I could see that she wants you to know that, kind of like what you said earlier. She wants to know that you want her to come.
What's the intention here?
Yeah.
Are you pursuing me or not? Kind of.
Or how, okay, so you don't give a shit either way.
Right.
So then why should I?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is
you're
fair.
you're just coming over to hang out and watch a movie. Yeah.
I guess that just in cases,
we do that, and then we're friends. That's why we're having a conversation.
I guess it just in cases of relationships where you're pursuing someone, guy or girl, if one is pursuing the other, it seems kind of like a cop out to put the pursuing on them suddenly, if that makes sense. Like if I'm pursuing someone and I'm trying to court someone, I wouldn't want to suddenly put it on them whether or not I'm courting them. It's kind of hard to
So
explain.
you're saying if you're going after someone, you wouldn't want to do the whole, you can come if you want to. You would.
I wouldn't. No, it'd be like, hey, I'd really want you to come, or I really want to go with you. I really want you to come. And
Make it clear.
yeah, and just at no point would I say it's up to you though, because then I would stop wasting time.
And,
I'd be like,
that's kind of like what we kind of said already. If it is a romantic thing, yeah, I'm going to be clear.
Right.
Maybe in my younger days when I was less confident, that's
Right.
the whole like, oh, you can come if you want to. But
Right.
But yeah, in later days, like if I want to see you,
okay, perfect example. A couple weeks back, we recorded a couple episodes at your house, Mike, and my wife. I literally said to her, "We're going on these. We're going to be recording these episodes. Mike's girlfriend's going to be hanging out. You can come if you want to." And but like that. And of course, I didn't sum it all up by just that simple phrase. I went into saying like, I'd love it if you came. I know you're going to be sitting here bored all day anyway. There's a pool. There's
she
drinks.
wanted her to come. Yeah, she wanted her to come.
And Erica would like you to come, and you two can hang out. I'd like it if you come, but if you don't want to, that's fine. So I guess I just don't like the simple phrase of "you can come if you want to." I like a little bit more explanation of the motivation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only way I've used that is casually if like someone in the room has not been invited.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's the main phrase. That's where when she first stated the question, I responded with the context is
Context,
key.
please. Context.
And almost let this be a lesson across the board. Almost everything can be fixed if you understand the context. There's we won't talk about the argument, but I remember I was talking to a friend of mine and we were arguing about something else. And I was talking about context. And I was like, hypothetically, and I'm not saying I would ever do this. I was like, if I punched your girlfriend out, again, I would never do this. And she came and told you, you'd be furious, right? And he was like, of course, I'd want to kill you. And I was like, okay, yeah, fine. But, no, but I was like, but if you confronted me about it, and I was like, look, I shouldn't have hit her, but she was making jokes about my dad who just passed away. And emotionally, I hit her. It still wouldn't make what I did right. But the context now is different. It changes the story.
Little perspective.
It changes the story. It changes the narrative.
Yeah.
He would still probably kick the shit out of
Oh
me.
yeah.
But even he was like, he still didn't see how it applied to our other argument, but he understood what I was trying to say. And with this phrase, like I said, I'd only use it for the most part. Like I said, if someone was in the room who wasn't invited, who's not in the conversation, but
Right.
oh hey, we're doing this thing, more than happy to come if you,
Yeah.
more than happy to have you. But yeah, if I were suddenly single and interested in a woman now, no, it would be a direct, I'd like you to come. But
I guess I'm just that's, I guess, what I was trying to bring out is what spurred this debate. What made this a topic of discussion? Like what context was she in where
maybe we'll have her on one day.
Yeah, we'll interview her, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that and other things. She's a very interesting person.
Okay.
Yeah.
With a name like that, yeah.
I think you'd have to be.
You'd have to be.
Yeah. Any 3-syllable names, you kind of have to be.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I'm not attacking 1-syllable or 2-syllable people.
I am.
Okay. But I'm a 2-syllable.
I'm a 2.
But the 3-syllable name, you kind of have to have a personality to go with it, or else you're
You
wasting
got
the
it.
name.
Yeah, if you have a 3-syllable name, that's a
4-syllable. Don't get me started.
4 syllables can go fuck off. They're pretentious. But I have 4 syllables in my name.
This cast went Seinfeld real quick. Yeah.
What's up with that? I can't even think of a 4-syllable name of someone I know.
Of someone I know. No, you're right. Because even if we know 4-syllable name, we're probably so accustomed to calling them by a 2 or 3-syllable nickname.
Yeah.
I can only think of one person that I met, and it was at that. We went to a party like 10 years ago.
Was I there?
Yeah, you were. I was sleeping in the back, and then woke up at a party. But,
I don't
yeah,
remember.
Her name was Sarujini, and that's the only
Where was this?
name that I can think. It was at a party. I think there was a pull-in back too.
I was there.
Yeah, you drove.
Who else was there?
I thought we're not supposed to name names.
Boring.
Just name
First names.
Boring. So boring.
Reese, Patrick, Alexa.
I don't remember.
That guy
I don't
named
remember.
Pookie.
What?
Yeah.
I don't
It
remember.
was that party, and I was like, "What's your name?" Sarujini. I was like,
I don't,
"Damn, that's a really interesting name."
because that group of people, that could be at any party.
I can only
Yeah.
think of girl names that are 3 syllables. I can't think of any guy names.
See,
that are
I
3
can think of
syllables.
4-syllable names. There's no one I've actually met,
Okay.
like Bartholomew.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And with 4 syllables.
Well, on that subject of phrases or terms that we don't like that are grossly overused, are there any others that came up this week?
I've talked about. I remember years ago, Danny actually, me and him were part of a group of people who were going to do like a blog, just talking, and that disappeared after like 10 seconds. Like,
Oh, shit.
I think I wrote one. Danny wrote one. One of the people wrote a poem on it, and we were like, "This is not what I thought it would be." And one of the things I was going to talk about was being in the hospitality industry, phrases that are used in advertising that are just utter bullshit.
Okay.
But they're catchy. You know what I
Okay.
mean? They catch your attention.
Surprising to think that some catchy, popular phrases are bullshit.
Oh yeah, right.
Anyway,
But like for instance,
example number 1.
because I used to buy into this too, specifically talking about not just cocktails, but when you hear these places like, yeah, come try our handcrafted cocktails.
Handcrafted
cocktails. I'd be like, as opposed to,
Having the Long Island iced tea in this year bottle we just poured. It says Long Island iced tea.
but even then, you're still pouring it with your hands. Like there's
It
no.
had to be hand poured at some point. Yeah.
That's where it's like every cocktail is a handcrafted cocktail.
handcrafted cocktail. Yeah, well, yeah.
Now,
I guess
now if someone says like,
that would be just redundant. A cocktail is a
Yes.
handcrafted
Yeah.
mixed drink.
and what
Or
they're
do they mean they wrote it down first? They wrote it down in calligraphy, and then
Yeah.
I'm going to make it now. Here's the parchment upon which I wrote.
It's like a handcrafted
It's your
craft.
martini.
yeah.
A handcrafted craft.
Yeah, exactly. And now I've come to realize that what the majority of people who say that mean is like an artisan cocktail. That's what they kind of mean. Like
Artisan
like kind of like the fancier cocktails. Your Negronis, your old fashions,
Okay.
there's tons of stuff like that where they're really, you go to one of those hipster bars and you could order a cocktail and it takes them literally 2 minutes, 120 seconds to make your cocktail. Which sounds for basic cocktails kind of nuts, but then there are these cocktails that take a long time to make. They're
Yeah.
artisan cocktails, are
Okay.
nice. But when you use the phrase handcrafted cocktail,
Yeah.
if you take 10 seconds to really think about that phrase, it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
That's the thing. I don't think many people are thinking about it.
No,
unless
yeah, they're
in
just
that
like, ooh, yeah.
It's another thing. Like, then there's a lot of examples, and I'm hard pressed to think of one. But examples of phrases in our modern culture that, if you looked at what they literally mean, it's it's dumb, but like we kind of get the idea of what they mean. Like,
Sure, yeah.
You hear handcrafted cocktails. What it literally means is a handcrafted craft, and it's redundant. But if you think about it, it feels like it's handcrafted. Oh, it
feels nicer,
It's
yeah.
more, old fashioned art, like you said, artisan kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's that one. Another one is, and this one,
I want an automated cocktail. I want
There
to
you
go
go.
on a Carnival cruise, hit the long button, watch the little robot that got laid off from making cars make my cocktail.
Why the
You know,
why the
There we
hell
go.
why the hell are there organic vegetables? Isn't that redundant?
no. So that
Well,
one
okay,
actually,
yeah.
that one actually, I get what you're saying, but that doesn't make the cut because organic is actually like if you claim your product is organic, you have to meet specifications. Like
So there's an actual regulated term of
yeah,
organic.
if something's regulated, fine.
Okay.
Whether or not what it literally means, fine.
Okay.
But organic's a good example. If you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu and it says our food is fresh, that means dick. That means nothing.
Okay.
That literally means that there's nothing governing it. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It means nothing.
Okay.
I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah. So we're looking for
yeah,
examples.
because there is a USDA organic certified, and there are
Yeah.
standards for it. Now, interestingly enough, that doesn't apply to sushi. Like, if somebody says sushi grade fish, what are you talking about?
Is that not? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
There's not any sort of.
there's not a standard for it.
Is there not?
Typically, the chef goes to the fish market, looks at that, says, "I want to buy it." Usually, there's a relationship.
Huh.
But as far as like sushi grade rice, there's not. No, they wash it a bunch of times to make it that consistency.
Sure.
That bums me out because I got it for Christmas. I got a sushi making kit because I want to experiment with making sushi, and so I've been trying to find where I can get sushi grade fish.
You can
And
just
that-
go to Ralph's.
Fuck. Okay.
You go to
Well,
the 99 Ranch Market. You can buy it. You can buy the wild caught salmon and stuff like that.
this is good because I'm going to reference this video later when I can't remember where I should go. That's good. Okay.
Or if you go deep sea fishing,
Get
and
your
what
own.
have you pull it out.
Yeah.
That's your sushi grade right there. Just freeze it so the bugs die.
It's going to be rainbow trout sushi.
There
There
you
you
go.
I texted a group chat of some of my friends and I said, "What are some popular phrases you guys hate?" First response was the word reimagine. Reimagine. Building the plane while flying it.
I don't think I've
How
heard
the
that
fuck?
one.
How the fuck we find ourselves falling from the sky with an unbuilt plane anyway?
I think that has to do with more of entrepreneurism. Is like you've got so much funding and you've got to produce a product that the investors are going to like, so you can get to be.
I kind of like
But
that
then
phrase.
Reimagine?
But yeah, well, reimagining. How far are you going to go with that?
Well, no. So building
like,
the
okay, there's
or building
there's
the
a car there.
what was the building the
That's
plane while you're flying it?
Yeah.
I kind of like that as a metaphor.
Okay.
Reimagining, I understand the annoyance with it because it has been used so many times,
Yeah.
but I think it's used correctly. Like I don't think people use it incorrectly.
I think there are a lot of words that are used incorrectly.
That's more what I'm
Like,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Like fresh means nothing.
Okay.
Handcrafted means nothing.
I heard this in another podcast because there's a guy that really hates when people do this, but like he's sitting at a restaurant and there's this couple sitting next to him and then another couple walk in. Oh my God, they know each other. Oh, hey, you came to this restaurant too. This is so ironic, blah, blah, blah. And he pipes up in the middle of the restaurant. Coincidence? Not ironic. That's not the definition of ironic. So
Yeah.
that kind of thing. People use the word ironic way too much.
I probably used it incorrectly as well.
I
I'll say I'm
definitely
guilty.
have. I'm not high roading. I definitely have.
Yeah, but no, but reimagine. I can see why that is annoying because especially in entertainment, everyone's like, oh, it's the story reimagined, and they think it's this magical word.
Ugh.
But
We've
it's,
recast it and we're refilming it.
there,
It's
yeah,
reimagined.
exactly. But I
Back
think
crap in the bottle cap.
yeah, but for a lot of times, I think the reimagined term is generally used correctly because even like Eddie just said, recasting and reshooting. Depending on how they're shooting it, they are reimagining it, but that it's just a dramatic word to say. Because, like Eddie just said, saying we recast it and we're reshooting this in a different way isn't as sexy as saying we reimagined it.
But then again, okay, so you have the first Tron movie and then you have the second Tron movie. Is that not a reimagination?
That's
They
a
didn't
sequel.
recast the old one.
It's a sequel.
There's a difference
It's just-
between reimagining and rehashing old shit.
Or making a
There,
sequel.
or there should be. Yeah.
There should be.
It's a sequel.
What were some of these other ones that you saw? These in
Yeah,
the business world. Where'd it go? Does astrology actually matter? That's another one. Conveniently located.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one.
So I think it was the first time I realized that it was a commercial for Morongo.
Yeah, conveniently located between the 15 or whatever.
Well, or
it is.
I think it'll say something like conveniently located 90 minutes from wherever you are.
Oh yeah,
And I'm like, that I got that right? They said something
yes,
like that.
I have heard that. Yeah.
And I just remember like thinking like, what if I'm because that radio station I was listening to, I think it was like Kiss FM.
Okay.
That's a large area.
Yeah.
So if you're like in Torrance,
Yeah.
for those out of state that might be watching this, Torrance and where Morongo is at least a 2-hour drive.
And another context is just how horrible traffic is. So if I left Azusa and decided to go to Riverside at 4 p.m. on a Friday
3 hours, 2 to 3 hours.
and I don't get there in 90 minutes, I'm suing someone.
Because you're right. That's very specifically. Morongo saying 90 minutes from wherever you are is a ballsy claim to make, being outside of LA.
Yeah.
That being said, they just want you to look at a map as to where it is.
No, of
So
course.
that's
yeah.
marketing playing with you.
Of course.
That's just pure marketing playing with you.
Because even and I'll shout them out. Jack of All Nerds. I've been on there a few times. They would do some advertising for my place, and they'd always say conveniently located off the 210 and Day Creek exit, and they're a podcast, so that could be someone listening in Wisconsin
Yeah. Yeah. or
But they
Myanmar.
get you to look
or
at it.
Myanmar.
Or Myanmar.
Shout out.
And
That's a callback.
That's a callback.
and that's
to,
what they call a callback.
That's what they call it.
But
Unless
so-
that episode goes after this episode.
We'll see.
That's a call.
I mean,
it's a call
it's
forward.
always the day of where you record,
There's a call back and then there's a call forward.
where we guess.
Foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
We just foreshadowed it, unless it would happen before us.
Of course, we shoot these live, by the way.
We
If I was
literally
going to
do.
say, this is a total force multiplier, what do you think? What comes to mind?
Force multiplier.
Shitty high school math classes.
I mean, yeah.
Something that increases your strength. You know what? Let me look it up because that word gets tossed around in circles.
Force multiplier. Shit, I just had one and I forgot.
There's one I see on menus a lot, and I understand the marketing strategy behind it. But even on our menus, I always try to avoid it when it says like "cooked to perfection."
Yeah, what does that mean?
I know, I understand what it
wonder-
means, but if your menu says "cooked to perfection," and that steak is a little too, you know what I mean? Like, it's a ballsy thing to put on a menu.
You know what? Whatever we're going to call this episode, we're going to call it part one. I'm just going to say it right now for those of you listening. Leave comments for more phrases that you cannot stand, and if you leave a comment, we will talk about it.
Absolutely.
We will definitely talk about it.
Because it's early on right now, and we're getting no comments.
because you said it. Because you said it, it reminded me. This episode recorded live. Now, if it's in front of an audience, that's one thing. But if a podcast is recorded live, no shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was. Even shows will be like, this was recorded in front of a live audience. Okay, but even
Yeah.
people say like, this was recorded live.
Right. Well,
Of course, yeah.
I've listened to radio stations where like they'll have sister stations, like the same parent corporation that runs all these radio stations, and on one station it'll be live. Starts at 9 to 12, it's live. On the other station, starting at 12, they play the recording of the other station.
Mm-hmm.
So on the station that's playing the recording, they'll say such and such show live, coming to you for live, and I'm like, no, it wasn't
Or they'll say recorded live.
recorded live.
Which,
Duh.
yeah. But I mean, like recorded live. It's like, okay, so they recorded this, but everything is recorded live.
So
technically.
okay, I'd
Yeah.
have the name for the episode.
Recorded
It's-
live.
No, it's called Opposed to What? As opposed to what?
As opposed to what?
Okay,
Yeah.
recorded live. As opposed what?
That it was
Are you
pre-recorded
guys
live.
You guys are the type of people who watch the ball drop in New York and go, "That's not really live."
Yes, motherfucker.
Yeah, I think that every time. But I could appreciate.
My ass is in bed. My ass is in bed at 9 p.m.
But I could still-
in New York already.
But
Dude,
can
I started
appreciate
going to bed at 10 p.m. on New Year's Eve, and it's the best thing ever.
But also, when the ball drops, it does say like pre-recorded. It does say
Yeah.
that. on the West
then
Coast.
it must really annoy you that the commercials, the commercials that end of 2000. No, it's 2001
No,
now.
you know what? No, I mean the New Year's Eve thing. That's a good point. There should be celebration of the time change at whatever time zone you're in. Celebrating with another time zone does seem weird. I've never thought about that.
I remember I was talking to someone about that, and we concluded that like it would be so much cooler. And I'm surprised no one's thought of this. NBC, let's just throw out it. NBC has their dropping the ball in New York,
Right.
Like everyone does.
for each time zone.
But then so what's the next over? Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Do some sort of drop, do some sort of party in Chicago.
Yeah.
So that when they hit, it's theirs.
Yeah. And then one in Denver, and
was
then
saying-
one in San Fran.
Or LA.
Excuse me.
Yeah, or LA. Like I was kind of thinking like the mountain states. I was like, there's not a lot that Denver. You're good, right?
Denver's good.
Denver, and then one in LA or even Vegas for West Coast.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But that'd be
That'd be
super
a
cool.
great idea.
Like an hour of each show. New
Yeah,
York drops.
a ball
cool.
drop at each
Chicago's the
time
next
zone.
hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would
Yeah.
be cool.
Eddie, what you might know, I know Mike doesn't know. I'm just assuming Mike doesn't know.
probably
There
don't.
is a province in Canada that is at like a half hour off. Have you heard about that? Like most time zones are like by
yeah.
hours, but there's a province in Canada, I think it's Nova Scotia, that's like a half hour.
I know what you're talking about.
You're right.
I don't even know if that's a province. That's not Nova Scotia. Is Nova Scotia a province? I don't fucking know. Yeah.
No, it's Canada.
That basically
Canada.
a province is a state. I'm looking it up right now.
I
know
think
you're-
Nova Scotia is in a province.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's Nova Scotia, but I know what you're talking about. That there's somewhere that's like a half hour. off.
Yeah. It's like Arizona. It doesn't do the
switch?
daylight saving time.
Which they
It's
shouldn't
like,
anyway.
It's actually Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
There you go.
Newfoundland is it's already 2:08
That's
a.m.
wow. Wow. So like
Yeah, it's a half hour.
so it's a half hour different. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's 2:08 a.m. Next door at Atlantic Daytime,
Interesting.
Atlantic Daylight Time, it's 1:38.
well,
I like it.
So,
I mean, yeah.
Newfoundland
Newfoundland. Go
by
Newfoundland.
a half hour. What do you do with that half
There,
hour?
Newfoundland is Canada's Arizona.
Only half of it. Then. That's got to be weird.
that is odd.
Change
Yeah,
your watches
yeah.
to a half hour.
Yeah.
That's just
bizarre.
that's just being stubborn.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that.
I want to go there.
The worst is flying across. I'm back to Arizona. Flying across the
Drive-
country from California to the East Coast, and there's a layover in Arizona during daylight saving time. So it's like you're changing your clock, but not as you're. It's terribly confusing. But luckily, your phone does it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once
Imagine
the phones
having a
go,
layover there. How wacky that is. Because
Imagine what? Sorry, you got cut out a bit.
having a layover over there. Because when went to Mexico this past April, it was like, okay, we landed. What time is it here? Is it the normal time or is it the special Arizona sweet time? We still had to run to the next terminal, and it didn't make a difference. It's like we were just
Right.
on time less. That makes things like that wacky.
yeah. But so other phrases we don't like. Arizona,
No, as
Arizona.
well as opposed to what? Like,
New Mexico.
see, no, we'll have to have a separation between phrases that are dumb because they're redundant, like handcrafted,
Yeah.
like handcrafted cocktails, as opposed to what? Record in front of a live audience. Well, as opposed to like a laugh track.
Recording in front of a live audience
It's
makes
like a-
sense.
a live
It's
track, like laugh
but
track.
recorded live.
Yeah, everything's
Yes.
recorded.
I know someone who absolutely despised the phrase "it is what it is."
I could see that. I use that phrase quite often,
But I can see how people
but
don't
I
like
could
it.
see why it's that. Or this is a throwback to Gavin Morris. Maybe I shouldn't say his full name. Too late.
Fuck you, Gavin.
No, he. I've heard other people say this, but he was the first one I heard say it. When someone's like, "Yo, Mitch, I'm not gonna lie to you," something, and it's like, should I assume that you're always lying to me then? That you have to specifically say that you're not lying.
Well, I said that because there should be a difference between, as opposed to what phrases, just grammatically incorrect phrases like irregardless or
Well, yeah.
a whole nother or, etc. But then there's the just incorrect phrase. Like, so I was thinking to myself, yes, you were correct.
It should be. I was thinking.
I was thinking, or I was talking to myself, or whatever. I mean, so I said out loud, yeah, Correct.
You are technically correct.
Yeah, yeah. So anytime I forget who I heard some radio host say, so I thought to myself, well, yeah, I guess I do, don't I? And then ever since he said that, I cannot hear.
No, I never actually thought of those. You're right. It's like I wouldn't say, well, Mitch, I thought to you. It's
well, how many
impossible.
times have you been telling a story and be like, oh yeah, so I'm at this bar and this dude was being crazy. So I thought to myself, like, well, hang on, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well, then you just shut up. So I thought to myself, and so I went over.
That's true. I like that.
For the dramatization.
Yeah. I'm telling
For
this
the
story. I was
theater.
in this bar and this guy was acting crazy, so I thought to myself, but I decided not to do it.
Do the emerald thing. I thought to myself, so
That's
Oh,
every
God.
story I'm telling from now on. I thought to myself.
skip what you thought to
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. Well, because you did. I thought to myself, but then I decided I was not going to get arrested today. Not today.
I thought to myself, that's probably a bad idea.
I was thinking. I thought about this joke.
No, yeah, but the lying one. I remember he pointed out to me first, and I thought that was kind of funny.
I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like, oh,
As
should that be
opposed
my assumption?
To what? As
Yeah.
opposed to what? Like, do you normally lie?
So it was
I'm going to be
actually,
frank with you. That's what it's saying. That's
Of
saying
course,
the opposite.
of course.
I'm going to be frank.
I understand the purpose of it, but the phrase itself is kind of. I actually prefer what you just said, Eddie. I'm being frank with you. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of well put. It's like
prefer
I'm
that.
not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm gonna be straight.
I'm not going to pull your leg.
In my honest opinion, because I have fake opinions.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
So one thing Danny said, it's not a common.
To get back to the dating scene.
There you go.
Wait.
Danny said this once about our friend, a friend of ours, and what he said was, he's like, he, you know him. He's like in a relationship or isn't. He's in a relationship or he isn't. And I understood what he was trying to say, but I was like,
Yeah.
as opposed to,
Purgatory, relationship
yeah.
purgatory.
And it was a meme I saw where it was like, if you think about it, everything in this world either is or isn't a potato.
Dumb.
But
I was
Dumb.
but
video once.
It's fucking dumb. How
It's
you
true.
gonna waste airtime with that?
but it's true.
fucking joke.
It's true though.
I don't care
It's not
how
a joke.
true it is. Oh my god.
Everything is either a potato or not.
That's like it's one of those jokes like to be frank, I'd have to change my name.
Uh,
how long is the
Thanks,
Chinaman's
Dad.
name?
but then sometimes it's embarrassing when you're caught on video, and it wasn't a big deal. It was like companies like 25th anniversary or something like that, and cameras and a microphone's in front of my face. Where do you think the company's going? And I said, if you want the honest truth, I think this is only the beginning.
This is at a 25th anniversary.
Yeah,
That's another redundant one. Is the
honest,
honest truth.
truth.
The
yeah,
honest truth.
as opposed to the dishonest lie.
You start saying that from now on.
There's redundant, the honest truth, and then there's oxymoron, like to speak my truth.
Hey, that's an annoying phrase, but I get it.
No, It's
That's an alternate fact.
it's exactly. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
alternate
I see what you
fact.
mean
It's-
now.
it's-
If hypothetically you're like, okay, this is 2 + 2 is 4, and then
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
well, my truth is
Right.
Okay, not phrase. Yeah,
people
in that
use
case,
the
yeah.
phrase. This is another example of a good one. To speak my truth. What they mean is to speak my opinion.
To
Yes,
speak their point of
yes.
view.
Speak their point of view.
So
it's not truth. There's no my truth. There's
So
just-
that phrase is tolerable if we were debating how we felt about something.
yes.
How do we feel about this movie? Well, to speak my truth.
No. Because
Saying my
Sorry,
opinion
I'm,
is
I'm going back to how people use the word ironic to say things that are not ironic. People
Yes.
use that phrase to speak my truth. They are incorrectly using the word truth, thus bastardizing it, thus devaluing the whole
I
word.
kind of see what you're saying now.
So it's more of just my nitpicky. Not nitpicky. It's just a fact that they're misusing language and thus reducing the value of.
Well,
language.
it is their experience. It is their truth.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Their experience.
So Eddie beat me
That
to
is
it.
true.
If it is something like religion, for instance, if you're talking, because you're a Christian, if you're talking to a Jew or a Muslim,
Uh-huh.
like Christianity is your truth.
It's my belief.
But
If I'm
that's-
debating something, it's my belief. And truth, though, it's a universal right or wrong. It's something that can't be objective.
okay,
So to say it's my truth would suggest that it's objective. And objective truth is an oxymoron. Now, this is going to
Yes.
spur some debate in the comments, like whether truth can
No,
be
that
objective
because
or
that
not. But
because like I agree with you in the sense of yes, if you're talking about the pure definition of truth,
correct.
then it is objective.
Correct.
You can't
So-
say my truth versus your
Right.
truth.
And where I come from a point, in my opinion, that pure definition of words is very sacred. And I think it's grossly bastardized. People use words when they don't mean words. And to the point now where something we're getting deep into it now.
Yeah.
But like, to use
This
use
is
words
semantics. Yeah, this is really good.
to use
Okay.
words incorrectly, like words like racist, if something is racist. I mean, Eddie, you even mentioned once in a conversation a long time ago, the pure definition of the word racism is to what did you say?
It's anthropology based. So
Right.
race is a study of anthropology, and
Mhm.
dating. When I took a cultural, is it cultural anthropology? No, I took anthropology in freaking a freshman in high school, and then reassessed that in college. And there were three races: Negroid, Mongoloid, Caucasoid.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, we're talking like 20, 25 years knowledge. The only two that were kind of that could be considered their own race were the Aborigines of Australia and Filipino, because there was such just a diversity in that gene pool that
Wow.
conceivably that might be considered another race.
Okay, so
So
I mean,
if you're discussing culture,
right.
that's
Or
something-
nationalist.
Mhm.
Are you
or nationalist.
nationalist would be a better first, like, or a pigmentist would be a better, a more accurate phrase than how people
Yeah,
use the term.
absolutely.
A little doesn't roll off the tongue as easy, but yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like, I mean, we have plenty of examples of where words have changed their meaning over time, not because we decided to change the meaning, but because it's been so misused that the culture kind of decides to use that word for something it's not meant for. And as a result, I think, in my opinion, that the culture gets dumber because of that, rather than using words correctly, learning how to use them correctly. And if we need to find a word that accurately expresses how we feel, we just use words that kind of mean how we feel, like something's ironic and not a coincidence.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that makes humanity dumber, the culture dumber, because they don't properly use language.
Well, I think there should be a distinction because because I agree with the ironic and coincident comparison, but I think the term racism or racist, Eddie's right. So remember, my dad and I talked about that one time, the three races, and I think over time though, I'm okay with certain terms evolving over time. Like this word is used for this thing, and over time, just because people are people, you start using things for slang, and that words evolve.
Right.
So I'm okay with that. But going back to truth has never evolved. The definition of it doesn't allow it to evolve.
Wow.
Because when you talk about, say, like racists, the term race, like Eddie said, when you study the anthropology of it, there is the three races.
Right.
But that term has evolved now to mean pretty much the color of your skin and also kind
Or
of where you come from.
Nationality.
Yeah.
So a pigmentist or a
Kind-
nationalist.
Exactly. But so like I'm okay with that term evolving because I remember I read somewhere that even like slang terms where you get older and you hear this new slang, you're kind of like fucking kids.
Right.
But in reality, that's a common thing through the centuries that there new terms are and they are created and then old terms are evolved.
So the word race has evolved, changed its name to how we use it. To,
I think so. Otherwise, obviously, that's how we use,
Right, yeah,
use
yeah.
it for. And but obviously, if you go down to the technical term, Eddie's correct. But the way we use it casually, I'm okay with that. I think comparing that,
incorrect.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But I think comparing that to irony and coincidence isn't the same thing necessarily.
it's not, but it's on.
But I
think
understand.
it's
I
in
know
the
what you
same
mean. Yeah,
it's not as severe as that, but it's in the same vein.
I understand.
And
what you
where
mean.
we let the little words go by, like coincidence and ironic, we open up to the next level of words to go by.
maybe, yeah.
It gets to the point now where saying someone's skin color as a particular color is now hailed as being racist. And when you use an example I like to call back on is there was a sports commentator, I forget his name. They were last year, 2 years ago, whatever. There's this new quarterback that's just killing it, and he's happened to be an African American quarterback, and I don't know what team or what, I forgot because I don't read. But what was setting him apart from other quarterbacks is the fact that he was running the ball a lot more than other quarterbacks. It wasn't Cam Newton. It was another, but
Randall Cunningham?
It might have been. I don't remember. But he was running the ball a lot better, and he was faking passes and running the ball, and he was getting a lot of yardage because of that. This commentator pointed out, white commentator pointed out, what I've heard from the players is that he would fake a pass and tuck the ball down into his arm, and his skin tone was very similar to the football's color tone. And that made it easier for him to hide the ball and run it during plays. Fired. Fired, canceled, gone because he was a racist. So
I don't know if I'd call him a racist. I'd say that's a stupid thing to say.
Okay, you wouldn't call him a racist. The point I'm making
That
is that the culture is to hail that as bad as the Klan.
But
who are
I
racist.
think that's a separate issue.
To
then.
use the same word racist for that as opposed to someone who's legitimately racist.
I would agree with that, but I think that's a different argument to be made because we're talking about the term of a word. We're not talking about misapplication of that word. The misapplication.
Well,
The
I would
wrong
say
application
I would
of the
say
word.
the term racist being a very severe, harsh word. I guess the point I'm making is that I feel like certain terms like racist, like sexist, like Nazi, are words that are very severe and carry a lot of weight.
Sure.
And they're so thrown around now.
But I think that's a different argument.
Because they are trigger words.
No,
Once
sure.
it becomes a trigger words, it takes on an emotional value rather than kind of a legal value or a truth value.
No, of
That's
course.
it exactly. I think that's it exactly.
But
it's the emotional value rather than the literal translation.
But what I mean is I'm not disagreeing with you. I do think sometimes those words are just thrown around for, just because they're easy to throw around. But as far as the evolution of the word, I don't think that applies. I think that's misusing the word. Like if someone just throws around racist because of dumb things, that's not necessarily saying that it doesn't apply. I don't think it applies to the argument, the debate we're having, or that's not even a debate. The discussion
Maybe not.
because we're talking about the word, how it evolved over time, not the misuse of the current definition.
I guess the connection I was making is that whereas a word meaning evolves over time, the term racist, the severity of it is become broader to mean a lot different things.
Maybe,
So
but I
evolving
think
that way.
even if we were going through the literal definitions, if pigmentist was the term, it would just be that term instead.
Right, yeah.
So
Okay.
that's what I mean. I don't think it's a separate argument.
Okay. Yeah, probably. That'll be another episode.
Yeah, another episode we'll get to at some point.
Cool. I'll do some
Then you get
research
into
too.
too many syllables and convenience, and well, you're a pigmentist. You're somebody who discriminates on color, so you're a pig. But does pig mean cop?
It's
You know,
PYG.
like, you have
Wait.
all these. You'll have all these semantics. Isn't that pejorative for a cop? It's
Oh yeah.
That's true. Pigmentist. I'm gonna start saying that from now on.
You're a pigmentist. Yeah.
If someone's like,
you are such a pigmentist.
hey,
Dude, don't be a pigmentist. Come on.
so I met this guy. He was black. Why does it matter if he's black?
Why does it matter?
Are you a pigmentist?
Yeah,
See,
I'm
that
just-
has-
all
that
the
has-
same skin tone.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah, it does. I can see Mitch coming out. That makes more sense. Thanks.
These fucking Polacks coming to my town. Oh, don't be a nationalist. Come on.
Don't be a nationalist.
So, nationalitist.
Like I really hate these fucking Mongoloids coming to my. Okay, now you're a racist.
Whoa, that's racist.
Now you're a racist.
Why are you a Hell's Angel? I mean,
Mongols. I got it. That was funny.
thank you.
No, it shouldn't be nationalist. It should be nationalitist.
No, it's-
Someone's
We're
nationality.
gonna play
No.
semantics. This can go
Nationalitist.
everywhere.
what's what even? That's a different discussion.
Okay.
Back to terms. No, actually, we're actually pushing this. This is supposed to be 25 minutes.
What are we at?
56
Oh, fuck.
or 53 technically. 53.
Here does that.
Well, should we wrap it up then?
Yeah, sure.
We're
Eddie,
getting there.
any more thoughts or?
Yeah, we get carried away with semantics, and I like the fact that we addressed kind of buzzwords that are highly emotive. I mean, when you brand somebody like that, it's very hard. We talked about burden of proof earlier, and we talked about Russell's teapot. Was that this episode?
I think that was the
that
last
another-
episode.
Those
That was the
other
last
episodes.
episode.
If you have a trigger word and it's associated with you, then it's an incumbent to you to prove that you aren't that pejorative designation,
Huh.
even though it's not true. That's fascinating.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way cancel culture works.
Yeah.
So yeah, right.
I love Eddie. I love your perspective on this because you have a great way of presenting a frame of thinking, I guess, without giving your opinion on it. Your explanation just then of cancel culture. It's like from you just gave a great explanation of cancel culture without
Taking
any
a side, yeah.
presumptions of what side it's on. Yeah, it's a good talent. It's a good talent to have.
You should be a politician.
No, God, no. He's too smart for that.
That's why.
We started on casual ways to ask a girl over and ended with racism. I feel like every episode is just going to casually evolve back to the racist
something,
issue
yeah.
and just
Yeah, it's a trigger word, and it deserves to be discussed.
yeah.
I think that'd be a discussion for the political.
Political. Yeah, I love. I'm going to write that down. The words you used, Eddie. The emotional value of words rather than the literal definition value of words.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting, and I'll have to develop an opinion on that. So, anyway,
It's the emotion that gets your ass up off the couch and go carry a sign and yell and
oh yeah,
walk a mile and stop traffic. And
yeah. See, I can't present. I can't present a point of view without expressing my point of view. I think it's a weakness I have. So,
I think. Well, no, I think that's fine.
because I can't talk about cancel culture without talking about how dumb I think it is. But
That's a political.
that's a political. Anyway, thank you everyone. If you've listened this far, have yourself another beer. You've earned it. Listening to us just rant and talk about shit. I know me. I don't care what I have to say. I'm surprised you guys do. But anyway, thanks for listening. Anyway, any last words there?
That'll do it. Stay tuned. We got more good things. FakePhilosopher.x and The Fake Philosophers. For anybody who wishes to make crypto donations,
Please do.
We're accepting Ethereum, Cardano, Algorand, Dogecoin, whatever.
You can go there. There's nothing right now because I've written on it, but we'll get QR codes. And if you really mean it, we'll find a way.
The optimistic trader says it's a buyer's market. Mike, any last words there?
I'm good, man.
right.
I appreciate everyone watching. This is, like I said 100,000 times, something we've been wanting to do for a while, and we're actually sitting down and trying to get it done. So,
All right, yeah.
you.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mitch, and glad you listened, and have a. I'm gonna take that again. Going back to one. All right. Thank you for listening. Tune in. We'll be having more episodes. We'll try to get at least an episode a week. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.